Hi everyone and welcome back to Ellie Pop's Bespoke YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make one of these bun wraps. Now I know I've shown you how to make bun wraps before, but on this one I'm going to show you how to make the actual flowers like this one so that you can create your own designs. Now what you're going to need is some double-sided satin ribbon. These are both 1 inch or 25mm ribbons. I've also got some 10mm satin ribbon. Now first of all I'm going to show you how to make this middle flower. The bigger outer flower has got 6 points and the inner has got 5 points. So I'll show you how to make that one first. So you need to cut yourself some lengths of ribbon. I've got the black in 2.5 inch long with the 1 inch ribbon, 2.5 inches long. I'm going to need 6 of those. And then in the red, which I'm going to put smaller one on top, I'm going to need 5 of those, and they are cut to 2 inches. So it's a 1 inch ribbon cut to 2 inch long. So first of all, what you're going to do is heat seal the edges of all the ribbons that you've just cut. So literally just get your lighter, you can do this with a candle, whatever you've got to heat seal the ends of your ribbons. Once you've done that, you're going to need to get a piece of thread. I just use cotton. Just get a piece of thread, threaded onto a needle and tied in a knot at the end. Now we're going to start with the black, which is going to be the bigger flower on the outside. Now we're going to get this. We're going to fold it in half like that. So you're going to fold it over the top. And then we're going to fold it to the left. So we get a sort of an arrow, and then you turn it over, and where you can't see any of the folds, that's going to be the front. Where you can see sort of a tucked in bit and a loop, that's at the back. And we're going to hold the straight edges, put them both together, make sure they're the same length. And right on the very corner, we're going to thread it through, but don't pull your thread all the way along. And we're going to just go in and out until we get to the end. And make sure when you're sewing it that your needle goes right through to the end point. And leave a little bit hanging out like that. And then just put that to one side, and we're going to do another one. So we're going to fold it towards us in half, and then to the left, and then turn it over. You can pinch along there if you like, doesn't really matter. And then the straight edges, make sure the corners are together, and then we're going to add it to that thread. And then we're going to do the same with the other 4 until they're all threaded on. So when all 6 of them have been threaded on, we just go to this end loop that you left loose and put our needle through it. So we sort of complete the loop. And then we just, making sure they're all laid right, we just pull that thread tight. Till they're all gathered together like this. And then you can just play with the leaves until you get them how you want them. And then turn it over to the back. They should all be facing the same way. and then holding that as tight as you can. We need to just sew it together. So sew the last one to the first one. Being careful not to get your thread stuck around any of the petals. And then I like to just sew through a couple of these back bits. Just to make sure it is all sewn together and holding together. You don't want a hole in the middle. Sometimes there's a little hole through the middle. You don't want that, so we just thread it together so there's no hole, and then just finish off your sewing with a knot. And then we have one of those flowers. Now you could just leave it like that and pop one of these in the center, but we're going to do a double layer today. So we're going to pop that one to one side and we're going to do contrasting red. So again, follow the steps that we did with the black, except these red ones are 2 inches. So it's going to be a smaller flower and it's going to have 5 points, not 6. So go ahead and they're a little bit fiddly, but fold it in half and in half again, and then sew it onto your thread. Always remember to tie a knot in the end of your thread before you start using it, and just repeat those steps until all 5 are on your thread. So again, all 5 pieces are on my thread. So I'm just gonna catch that end piece and then pull it all together. As tight as you can. And then sew it so it combines them all. And there we have our 2 flowers. Now obviously if you want a smaller flower, use smaller width ribbon, cut smaller lengths. I'd say this is the smallest you want to go with a 1 inch ribbon. I think this is a 2 inch flower with 1 inch ribbon. So if you want a 1 inch flower, go down to sort of 15mm ribbon. So next thing to do is we need to stick them together. So we get the red one, we put it on top of the black one, figure out how you want it to go. So we just get some gun glue, pop a little bit in the middle, and stick it on. Stick it onto your preference, and then get your gem and stick that in the middle as well. And there we have the flower for the middle of the bum wrap. Now, the other flowers, this one's also simple to make. You're going to need a length of thread again, tie it at the end. And this time, I'm going to use red for these ruffly ones. So my length of red ribbon is around 70 centimetres, which is about 28 inches. And we're just going to heat seal the ends. It's important to do this because it stops the thread from pulling through the ribbon. And then they're really, really simple, more simple than you probably think. You need to stick to this bottom edge as close as you can. We just stick the thread through. I like to just tie it off there as well. And then you just sew. Depending on how big you want the ruffles to be. So don't do them too close together. But you literally just sew in and out. I think it's called a blanket stitch. You just sew in and out like this. All the way along. Trying to keep as straight as you can. And as close to that bottom edge as you can. So once you get to the end of sewing it all the way along, we literally just pull it down to gather it. We sew it in a circle, so find the end that you started with and sew through that. And you literally just make sure all your ruffles are facing upwards. You just pull it as tight as it'll go. It makes a ruffle. Now if you want a smaller ruffle, use less ribbon. You can also use a thinner ribbon, so 15mm ribbon rather than 1 inch. Make sure you pulled it tight. And all the ruffles, like I say, ruffles need to be all facing the same way. And this is like a carnation flower. We do it so it's flat on the bottom and the ring of where you've stitched is in the middle, and we stitch it across just to join all them bits together. And there you have your carnation. Now for this tutorial, for this bum wrap, we need 2 of those. So go ahead and do the same thing and make 2. So there we have our 2 finished pieces. They are going to go at the side of that, like that. Now what we need to do is make some roses. So I am going to use some black ribbon. So I've got my 1 inch black ribbon. I'm going to heat seal the ends. These are about 10 inches long each. And what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to fold that end under to make a straight line, and then from this end I'm just going to roll it along that straight edge. And you'll see the start of a little rosebud. Don't know if you can see that. So with the ribbon coming out this way, what you need to do is from the bottom, pull it up, wrap it round a little, and then keep pulling and twisting this ribbon. So we twist it from the bottom, wrap it round, twist it from the bottom and wrap it round. Now you might notice with this, you might need to put a dab of glue just on some of the satin, sort of on here, and that's just to keep it down because this ribbon, the double-sided ribbon, is quite thick. So again, we just keep twisting and building up that rose. When you're happy with the size of it, give it a couple more twists. That is perfect. So I've got a little bit of ribbon left over there. Just going to cut that off. And then I'm going to dab a bit of glue just under that last little twist. That's just to keep it secure for me. And then when that is done, keep hold of it at all times because you don't want it to unravel. I'm going to turn it over. And this bit at the side that is hanging off, we need to just neatly twist it, and I sort of hold it on the bottom here, and then we get our lighter and burn it. But as it's still hot or as it's still burning, fold it over onto the ribbon. Don't do it with your fingers because it'll be really hot. You can use tweezers, or as I'm doing, just use the end of the lighter, and it melts the satin and it sticks it to itself. Now this bit's too pointy and sticking out, if you can see that there, and it won't sit flat where we want it to. So again, we're going to burn that. Now be careful with your fingers. You can hold it with some tweezers if you need to. You're just going to burn that until the ribbon starts melting. Don't be nervous of it melting. And then again, push it down. And this will all help it stick together as well so it doesn't come apart. So we just melt the ribbon and stick it down. And once that is cool, because it can get quite hot, you can then let go. And there we have a rose. We can get it to focus. So we're gonna do another one in black that size. And there we have 2 black roses. Pop those to one side. So now we're going to have 2 small red roses, and for that I'm going to use this 10mm gross grain ribbon. We're going to need a bit more of this because it is smaller. Same way as we did the black ones. Fold it over, and because this is a really thin ribbon, it's only 10mm, it's really fiddly. So we wrap that first rosebud and then as tight as you can, and then we just twist and turn. Super fiddly these are, but we're just twisting and turning until we get to the right size that we want it to be. So when you've finished doing all your flowers, these are how the red ones turned out, and the black ones. So we've got all our pieces. So what we do now is we cut a length of ribbon that we want to put this on. I always cut the ends at angles. I'm just going to heat seal. Lay that out flat. What I'll do actually is fold it in half and crease on the bend so you know where the middle is, and then lay it out flat. So our middle is here where this crease is. Now we get our parts and we decide which way around we want this to be. I think that is going to be the best way. So it's quite a big flower, that, for the middle of one of these. This is going to be sort of a competition showstopper bun wrap rather than a class one. So put an equal amount of glue on either side of that crease and then stick that flower in the middle of it. And that's going to be the middle of the bun wrap. And then we just work outwards. Now we've got these. Now these ones that I've made with 1 inch double-sided satin are actually quite big. The ones that I made on the pink and white one are a lot smaller. Now I used for this one, because this one is just a practice wear bun wrap, I used 15mm ribbon for this, and it's single-sided satin, so it gathers more. Now this is more of a luxury ribbon, the double-sided satin, and it's thicker ribbon, and so it is bigger. Now I want to try and squash this down as much as I can. And I'm going to put some glue on here. And then I'm going to just lift those petals slightly and stick that as close to that middle one as I can, and then let go. You don't want to spread these out or have them spread out quite far, because when this goes into the hair and wraps around, it separates, and I'll show you what I mean when I've finished gluing it. So again, put glue there on that side. We scrunch this up, and you can see where the back is because it's where I've sewn it. And we hold it tight. And we glue that quite close to that flower in the middle. We can lift the petals on that. But like I say, this isn't how it lays flat anyway, because when you put it in the hair, it rounds out. And then I'm going to put the black roses next. And again, we don't want to lift this up too much, but we do want to lift it out of the way. And just put a blob of glue there and stick on that rose. See how it's slightly underneath that petal? And again on the other side. Gonna lift that slightly. And pop that rose on there. Just slightly underneath that ruffle. And then the last ones I'm going to stick on the ends. Just a small blob of glue next to that black one. It is slightly touching the black. And then what I like to do is just pop some rhinestones in the centre of those. So I have these crystal element rhinestones, non-hot fix, got large and small. Just need a couple of the large ones and a couple of the small ones. Don't use hot glue to fix these on, I use a fabric glue. Let me just pop a tiny bit in the middle of each rose. Small ones on the small roses, large ones on the large roses. This just adds a little bit more sparkle to it, make it a little bit more special. Just wanted to show you as well, while I was making these ruffles, I did another one which is a flat ruffle, like this. Same technique as those ones. You get your length of ribbon, the same length as that, 50-60 centimeters, and you sew along the edge of it, but instead of gathering them all in the middle, you flatten them out so that you can see the ring. So you sort of join the middles and you keep it flat. These are also good to use in the middle of these instead of the flowers. So that's that finished. We just need to wait for the glue to dry on the rhinestones. But there it is. So when it's curved round a bun, I'm going to just use the back of my hand for this. When it curves round, can you see where there's a gap sort of where the black one is? I mean, that ruffle can be flattened down to fill that gap, but the ruffles spread out. So when it's laid flat, it looks like it's squashing that middle flower. But when it's wrapped round a bun, it spreads out. So there we go. This is more of a like I say, a bigger, more luxury, I'd say a competition piece to match a tutu, to wrap around a bun if you're not into wearing crowns or tiaras and you want a piece just to wrap around your bun. Let me know if you give this a go, what you think to it, if you're going to give it a try. If you have any tips for me, if I've done something differently to how you do it, just pop it in the comments or over on the Facebook group. I do hope you give it a try. They are really fun to make, really unique that you've made your own flowers and not bought them and just stuck them on a piece of ribbon. And yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.